Okay, first things first in this video, I made a bit of a mistake in my last video. This was the electricity reading was referring to the usage instead of the bill, so I've altered that. That's now looking at the usage. Sorry, looking at the bill instead of the usage. And I also referred to this as a chart. This is not a chart. This is a data bar, which is under conditional formatting. As you can see, if I kind of hover over this, it starts to change the colour of everything down there. So yeah, that's a data bar, and that's what we're going to start to look at now. We first need to add a validation list so we can use a Vlookup function based on this cell reference right here. So let's go in and start to do that. So what we need to do is get a validation list. Now you could type them in manually, but what I'm going to do is create an offset function which reads from the table range, so we never need to update it, and it'll just keep doing itself. So I'm going to start out here, even though we're going to create it as a name range, equals offset. The reference is going to be, if you've got start reading, do it the one below, and then what we need to do is lock that, because we're putting this into a name range. If you don't lock it, it's going to give you some weird number, like create that. It'll take B9 to like B20,000. I don't know why it does it. It just does. So we're going to comment to go to the next one. We don't want to go down or across any rows or columns, so we're just going to go to the next one. Go to the next one. Now it's saying height. Okay. So what do you want the height to be? We want the height to be a counter function. So what we're doing is we're nesting a counter formula within an offset formula. So counter, open brackets, and I want you to give me a count of table 1 month. And what this does is returns a number, so it'll return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's essentially that formula right there. At the moment is the same as saying 5. I just type 5 and it will do exactly the same thing. But because this is going to be moving all the time, adding more rows, it's going to count up every time, 6, 7, 8, 9, kind of like that. And what we want to do, because we've started here, it's going to give us 5, so this is going to go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will return as a blank row at the bottom, but we don't want that, so we're just going to say -1, and that will always return us from there to the bottom of the chart. Close brackets. There we go. Now it says value at the moment because an offset function returns an array or a range, so I'm just going to copy that and then hit Control F3 on my keyboard to bring up the name manager. In this box we can click on new. Name is going to be called, let's call it date range. I'm just going to paste the formula into here, click OK. Now if we highlight this, you'll kind of see now it's looking at the right ranges there. And then hit close. I can delete this formula now. So that's essentially it. That is our formula done. So what we need to do is apply that to a validation list. So I'm going to kind of keep this a bit neater. I'm just going to come into here and get rid of this border. And we're going to do it down here where the other data bar was. So that, let's say that's where the data bar is going to be. It's a bit high actually. Let's just drop it a bit more down here. That's going to be our data bar. And then up here is where we're going to select the date. So we're going to go to data, validation, and it's going to be selected from a list, and the list is going to equal, when we hit F3 on the keyboard, it'll bring up our name manager, and there it is, date range. If we can put an input message in here, so this could be select a date. Please select a date from the following list. Okay. So now whenever we click on this, it's going to give us the right dates that we need. And just to prove that, if I insert table row below the table, the next one's going to be May 2013, and we'll come back to here, click in here, there's May 2013. It will always keep adding up. I just need to format this, it's not formatted right, so it's going to be dates. I'm going to give this a custom format actually. Should be at the bottom. There it is. There we go. So that's how we get our date. Now what we need to do is create a Vlookup function which is going to return us a current value, and we're going to hide it just somewhere around here. So this is going to equal Vlookup, and the current value is this, what we've just created. F4 to lock that. We don't really need to, so we're not moving formula anyway, but lock it anyway, all the same. Comma. Table array. So where's our table? So data input sheet. This is our table. Table 1 all. Comma. And then it's saying what column do you want to return? Well, this is number 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because that's our total cost. 8, comma. The match type, we want it to be false, which is an exact match, or you can hit 0 on the keyboard and close it off. That's just cleverly decided not to work for me for some reason. It's because I've actually got no values in there. If I change this to, let's say, April, there we go. Now we've got 75. So April, £75. They're all 75. So that's how we get our current value. And what this data bar is going to do is if we click on the cell, on the merge cell, conditional formatting, data bars, just add a random one for now, and then go back into conditional formatting and manage the rules. Okay, we want to edit the rule. Now I already know that my minimum value is always going to be 0 and the maximum value is always going to be 250. Obviously if you're not doing kind of fixed values, you can use cell references, so it'll be constantly changing. So I'm just going to change these to number. Lowest value is already at 0, highest value 250. Click on OK, and then OK again, and that's it done. Once you then equal this cell up here, 75, there we go. Now a couple of things you can do. You can add a border first of all, and that kind of makes it look a lot better. I think on Excel 2010 it gives you options for stuff like that, but on 2007 it's pretty basic. You're going to have to mess about with the background colour just to make it look right. Another thing you can do is if you manage the rule, the data bar rule, you can show the bar only. I'm not going to do that in this case. What I'm going to do is give this a centering, make that a bit bigger, and change it to, there we go, change it to £1. And then all I did on my other one is brought that one up slightly, drew a border above it, which was a double bottom border, and then in there typed in whatever I typed in. I can't remember what I typed in. Let's have a look. Allotted allowance bar, that's what I called it. So allotted allowance bar. Cool. So that's how we do our little bar. And again, if you have a B graphic or you have another graph, you could do it with a standard Excel graph. You can just put that into there, and whenever you change something on here, yeah, it's going to be dynamic. I mean, we're all at £75 at the moment, so you're not going to see any change. And obviously you hide that behind the graph. Cool. So that's the bar chart, VLOOKUP, and the dynamic dates list, which we're going to use for these other tabs when we're selecting these dates up here. Yeah, so that's that one over. Again, coming up to the end of my video now, I'm going to have to stop it here. On the next video, we're going to start to look at these, what I call window charts, where you see a window over a period of time, and you get to use these cool little selectors to navigate through. So we'll see you then.